Good afternoon. My name is Cam Walker, the Programs Associate here at St. John's. And during this time of the pandemic, Father Kelly and I have been thinking of ways to engage you, our Facebook audience, more with the church. And one of the best ways we thought was, we have so many awesome historical items in this church, specifically our stained glass windows, that we thought every Friday we would make a video of one of the stained glass windows, or in this case, doing a video about the windows in the Narthex, and be able to share them with you at home so that even while we are apart during this time, we can learn about our beautiful church. The first window we'll look at this afternoon sits on the north side of the front doors of the church. There are two windows on each side of the door in the Narthex, and this first one depicts Jesus standing at the door and knocking. It's a fairly common depiction found in stained glass windows, particularly those standing at the front entrance to a church, and it was put in and donated in 1967. The second window, found on the south side of the front doors of the church, depicts the Good Samaritan, and this window in particular is particularly appropriate, reminding us that as Christians, we need to show mercy and kindness to those who need it the most. What you're looking at now is a style of glass that is called grisaille. It's a hand-painted glass and was particularly popular in churches in the Victorian and early 19th and 20th centuries. This glass is actually from when the church was built in 1861 and was meant to be temporary until money was raised or donated to build or design more elaborate and expensive stained glass windows. There are several of these grisaille glass windows left in the church, and they are in particular and different styles of colors. You'll probably recognize them the most over the stained glass windows in the arches in the main part of the church, called the nave. What you're looking at right now is one of the most interesting and often most forgotten windows in St. John's. This stands over the front doors off of Woodward Avenue, and often in most Gothic architecture in churches, this would consist of carved stone called a tympanum. But instead, this is a portion of stained glass that was actually used and scrapped from the old parish house that stood in a portion of our parking lot until the late 1960s. This glass was compiled by Whipple's Studio out of England and designed to fit this portion and was installed in 1972. Speaking of a tympanum, this was the original entrance, or what you would have seen off of Woodward Avenue, until probably the late 1800s. We have several drawings and even a picture of the church that shows this entrance with leaded glass in these holes that you see covered with plaster. And at the very top, in the crest, you'll see that it says St. John's. This vestibule of sorts that you're standing in right now, we assume, was built to help with heat control and protection from the elements. So that concludes our first tour of the stained glass in St. John's. So coming up next, we'll lead you through the nave of the church, the main body of the church, and share with you a stained glass window and maybe another fun fact about the church each week on Friday. If you have any questions or maybe some ideas of things you'd like us to talk about in particular, you can leave a comment below in this video or email me at cwalker@stjohnsdetroit.org. Thank you and God bless.